What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Crypto Wonder. Hope you're having a fine day wherever you are. And if you're not having a fine day, may you find swift amelioration towards having a better day. Let's get right into it. Now, I heard something very interesting that I wanna talk about. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because it's very important. And this is from a perspective of creating content. This term influencer, this term, I started hearing influencer within the last 2 years of making content. It wasn't popular to be called an influencer 5, 6, even 10 years ago. But, such is the times, this is how things evolve and change. Change is something I like to say is permanent, uh, you know, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth. When we create content, like I talk about cryptocurrency, I talk about Hex, I talk about Pulse Chain, I talk about Pulse, anything Pulse related, Pulse Chain. Well, no, let me correct myself. I don't speak about everything Pulse related because there are a bunch of new coins now that are dealing with Pulse Chain, and I don't necessarily favor the majority of the coins that are on the chain. So let me correct myself. Since Pulse is very new, it's new. It's just new, period. It's not even a month old yet. And we've heard and will always hear different opinions and ideas and perspectives on how things are, and people predicting on prices and conjuring up strategies and plans on what to do. Folks, we use the internet as a way to connect with people and talk about things we are interested in. There's certain commonality with what I talk about here. I never forget to think about responsibility, not just for me, but for what I talk about, because when I listen and I see other content creators speak, I like what I hear sometimes, and what I don't like, I might have a disagreement. It's not that I don't like it, I just disagree with certain perspectives, and I take it from there. But the sense of responsibility is always present, because you never know as a content creator who's listening to you and holding on to your every word. And what I mean by that is simple. A person could make a decision based on what you say, right? And the thing that I heard today that's important is how, for what it's worth, people, you got to be careful as a figure, as a public figure, or as a person who's creating content and who's deemed to be an influencer. The reality is, and this is what I heard, that people basically want to be like you. And it's not a position of being conceited, capricious, right, pretentious, and standing on some type of aggrandized pedestal. It's not about being on a high pedestal. It's just that when we see these things on social media, people just, they hold a certain position in life, and they're showing you through the visuals of great things. And of course, if you're not experiencing that, you would want to attach yourself to that. You want to become what you're seeing, because it seems like people are living it up. For example, folks are on expensive vacations and driving the best vehicles, and they have the largest homes, glamour and glitz, all these things, right? Or they're showing you how rich they are and how wealthy they are. Who wouldn't want to have that in their own lives. As crazy as that sounds, that's just how it gets, because sometimes you might see something and it could change your entire mood on social media, and that's done by design. As far as social engineering, that is done by design. You could see a word, you could see a post, you could see a video, you could hear a clip, you could see something, and then all of a sudden your mood is altered for the better or for the worse. You might feel down. These things are done by design. And in knowing that, and knowing that I personally have no control over how someone reacts to, whatever that's being socially engineered, the message, though, I try to think and be conscious of is what's important to me, because I'm no better than anyone else out here. I'm no better. What I talk about in general, you can attain as well. If as far as like even with these things in crypto and how we deal with our cryptocurrencies, this is not something that's just, an isolated situation that only I can do. No, everybody could. People have been doing it before me, and I learned in how these things work and how it's available for anyone who's interested and who can do the same thing, in order to just be successful. The audience wants to be like the person who's talking. Like when you hear the founder of Hex speak, people adore him, for better or for worse, good, bad, and indifferent. They like what he talks about. Some people can't stand him, right? But you have to understand, when people see something that they don't have and they want, right? It could be something that becomes a motivation where, wow, you see what this person has. Not only do I want to be like that, I'm gonna do everything I can to reach those levels. It could be a point of inspiration where they're like, they see things in a certain way, where they take action in a responsible way, not in a vindictive or spiteful type of situation. I'm talking about in a responsible way. I've seen over the years, content creators are just so sort of like, they just are reckless. They'll clickbait, they'll talk about whatever just to get views, just to build their channels up, just to make some money, and not care about the messages that they're giving to the viewers, especially in crypto. And we've seen it. The largest content creators in crypto have peddled and shilled trash to the viewers. The largest crypto content creators in crypto have peddled garbage to their audience. 100%. And I'm talking about not just Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm talking about utter useless scams, other useless coins that turned out to be scams, projects that turned out to just completely rug the people. Why? It's because people want to see a way out of their situation. And if you show them something, they're going to buy into it. I remember days old before the internet craze took place, where you had, mail order scams and publisher clearinghouse scams. To me, they were scams because it's this thing of, you lucky to have some old man knock on your door and show you this check of you winning $10,000 a week for life. Who wouldn't want to have that if you're living in abject poverty and misery? But it's about responsibility. It's about the image that you try to portray and the visual and the quote unquote optics that you've created for your audience to see. You have to know that, okay, well, how can they achieve that? Because they want that, and you know that. But when you misuse it, that's when you become somewhat of a disingenuous type of messenger or a deliverer of content that can create some type of harm to the people. And for me, I'm not really about that. This is why I'm very careful in what I talk about, like, for real. And I don't care about clout chasing. I don't do that for my channel. That's just my style. I'm not about that, because I know how it feels to be a person watching something and you take somebody at their word, and then their word ends up to be nothing or trash because you lose, and they were basically lying to the public. And even if they weren't lying, but they were talking about a scam, they were talking about some type of project that ended up rugging the people, and that's not correct in my point. There's a certain level of personal virtue and ethics that I follow, that I will not falter or subscribe to something else just to make a quick buck. And you have a lot. Some of the people, I used to get out a lot of people in crypto who did that. They no longer make content anymore, and it's not because of what I've done. It's just because, when the bear markets came, and the bear market from previous to this one came, it just wiped out a lot of people. People lost faith and hope, and they just left the cryptocurrency space altogether. Maybe they're still in, but they're not making content anymore. And then you have some who are still making content, but their reputation is not the best either. But they've still garnered a following, because in some situations, scammers move together and they move in tandem. Not just scammers who, create situations in the shadows. We talk about promoters who are also part of the collective, who also get a piece of the action. And when you're not a part of that circle and there's in crowd, you lose as an end user trying to really support whatever they're shilling you. You may like somebody because you've been following them for years, but watch their patterns. Watch what they've done to the people. Watch how unsuccessful their viewers are versus how successful they are. This is stuff that's real. And then now more than ever, when you have issues coming up within the community, like this community that I talk about, that I'm a part of, that I'm happy to be a part of, you're watching folks who just throwing certain seeds of dissension here and there. They call it giving knowledge, or trying to give a perspective, but you see it's just kind of it's creating confusion more than anything. Pay attention to that, because you have to focus on why you're in this community. You have to really focus on why you found Hex, and you're dealing with everything that Richard has created. It's not to just take what you've received as a gift or airdrop and then squander it or throw it away, because then what was all this for? That's why sometimes you got to pay attention. You really have to pay attention to what you're listening to, because not all information that you receive is good, useful information. Point blank, period. And like I said before, you can't just be listening just to anything you hear, because and including me, because we're following we're trying to find the best way to be successful financially in life. And we found crypto, and we found this community within the crypto space, within DeFi. Super small. It's growing though, but it's still small. It's very niche in my opinion. And we're trying to use the best skills and tools that we have in front of us to reach our goals, and reach our destination, reach our desired outcomes. And not everyone who's talking, it's this thing of people have all kinds of ideas of opinions, but did they help you become well off? No. That's why I listen to Richard and kind of think about some of the things that he does, and how crypto works, and how markets react to certain things, and ultimately the markets decide. Because everyone who has an opinion and who's talking right now, if they're not a founder, right? If they don't own an exchange, if they didn't just create something that basically helped, multitudes of human beings out here, it's like, what's the point? Are they making you rich? No. If it's anybody else, I'm saying, anybody else who's not a founder, a crypto founder, and of a legitimate situation, not just a founder, because you got founders who are leaders of scams. I'm talking about things that have stood the test of time, who turned out just to help a lot of people succeed. If you're not listening to somebody like that, then I don't know what you in crypto for. I'm just parroting what I'm learning. I'm parroting from my experience and sharing and trying to add some type of value and perspective. Well, perspective first, then value. Because common sense is not something that's common, believe it or not. That's all I got to say for this one. All right. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful, because subconsciously these conglomerates that created all this thing with social media just want us to just become mindless sheep and become what we see. That's why you have to be careful what it is that you're seeing, what you're listening to, what you're believing in, what you're adhering to, because it can make a big difference in your life, for the good and for the not so good. In any case, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Take care.